trying this again. Let's see if they connect. Hopefully I did everything right. But we shall find out soon, so we can go ahead. All right, Facebook is online. Yes, DLive is online. YouTube is online. Yay! I feel like I just won the lottery, you guys. Yes, we are we are live online. Okay. Now I'm feeling good about myself. I'm feeling really good about myself. And so let me just check YouTube really quick. And there I am making a fool of myself. I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't mind looking foolish for your entertainment. We are good to go. We are good to go. I'm up on everything except for LinkedIn and Twitch. But hey, they're new to the party and we shall see. But Facebook and YouTube, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. So if you guys are picking me up, all right, if you guys are picking me up, if you can hear me, please leave a comment so I know that audio is working okay and everything else, because I really want to make this good. I have animations planned. I have giveaways planned here in the Kids Zone, and even in my private live streams that I'm going to be doing through here. I just wanted to make sure that I was able to service everyone as much as possible with being a one-man show. You understand? And so, yes, I'm very, very ecstatic. Don't quite know a lot about DLive yet, but we will get there. Don't have an audience there per se, but hey, we got to grow, right? Right? That's part of the process. We move forward, we grow, we learn. And thank you guys for enduring my learning curve. Yeah, LinkedIn, I'm not worried about that as much, but yeah, we are good, and we are online at Periscope. Periscope family, it's been a while. If you're out on Periscope, please leave a comment. I want to know who is out there, who's saying what. I started on Periscope when Periscope was brand spanking new. And of course, everyone came into the live streaming arena, and poor little Periscope kind of got pushed to the side. But I believe that there's still a lot of value there, and I want to make sure that I'm reaching everybody. I don't believe in leaving anything to chance, because you don't know where your tribe is. And I'm really trying to build a tribe here at KAPOW, the Comic Art Academy, and especially right now during the Kids Zone. So thank you guys very much for joining me. I'm Dr. Solo Perry, the most famous artist you've never heard of. And today, we are just going to wing it. Today was supposed to be a mystery character. I'm still even trying to figure out how to bring in Skype guests. I know that some of the KAPOW kids are trying to come in. If they come in, great. If not, I'm prepared to do this, i.e. my name, solo for today, and figure out all the kinks, and then go to work this weekend and create all the overlays and the interactions and really set up some cool things so that we can really hang out and have a great time here at KAPOW School and in the Kids Zone. KAPOW, the Comic Art Academy, and the KAPOW Kids Zone. And so thank you guys so much. We're going to go ahead and get started. I think today I'm going to go ahead and let me get my my camera options off all together. Let me see. Control Tab. And make sure that I'm able to get all the recordings in order for you guys. Yes. We are good to go. Everything is good to go. And we are about to start creating something epic here at KAPOW.
KAPOW.
So, yes, KAPOW. And so, yes, let's go ahead and let's cue the intro and let's get started. All right. We are back and we are ready to get started with some really cool art. I think today, since we got a late start, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dive right in here. Hopefully you guys are picking me up okay. And we're going to get started immediately on one of my favorite characters. And it was a request from our last Kids Zone episode from one of the young men. And we did something cute and cuddly last week. We did something very cute and cuddly last week, and I don't know why I'm blurry, but we're going to fix it. We did something cute and cuddly last week, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. Wow, why is that blurry? I do not know. I do not understand. Make sure the other views are coming in okay. And this is why we practice and we figure it out. Yes, it seems like some kind of autofocus here. Yeah, it seems like some kind of autofocus thing they got going on. And so we're going to go ahead and make sure, there's my desktop. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started here with some cool art. We're going to work on, we're going to do the Hulk. We're going to do the Incredible Hulk. Let me go ahead and switch this camera here. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and do the Incredible Hulk today, and I'm excited. We're going to do an animated version of the Hulk. I usually sometimes I switch it up a little bit because I really do like to have some kind of ownership in what I draw. And that's just the fun part of it to me. You know, anything else, you're kind of like a drone, right? You know, you're kind of like inside of a vacuum, and I don't like being in the vacuum when I create. It's different when I'm doing something that's for, you know, a client as opposed to something that's really supposed to be fun, just like what we're doing today. And so today we're going to do the Incredible Hulk, right? We're going to do an animated version of the Incredible Hulk. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start off with our basic shape languages. That's what I always teach here at Ka-Pow. Basic shape languages, right? And we're going to try to get what we can in here. Now I want to make sure that I'm not being a little too aggressive with my size and the dimensions of this character, right? Because I don't want to completely overpower the page. Even though the Hulk is an overpowered character, I don't want to overpower the page because I'm working with a limited amount of real estate here, right? And so what is this autofocus thing that they keep doing? You see this camera settings. Because I don't want the autofocus. I'm still learning, so bear with me. I just see it and I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like every time I move my hands, it blurs. That's not cool to me. It's not cute. And I'm sure it's quite irritating to you guys. And it's something that Ecamm is doing that I don't quite see. Yeah, I don't want that autofocus. Let me see if I can go into my settings. Because I want you guys to see very clearly what I'm doing all the time. Autofocus off. Go this other one. Advanced. Autofocus off. I think we got it. I think we got it. Yeah, we got it. All right, cool. No more autofocus. Autofocus, away with thee. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with the Hulk. I love, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I really love it when I learn new things. And, you know, even learning a new program is exciting to me. And it's funny because, you know, I'm an old fart. I don't mind saying that. I'm a little bit longer in the tooth than most, right? And many people of my generation, we're not fans of a lot of the new technology. But me personally, to me, it's an opportunity to just to learn something that I didn't know previously, and all the ins and outs. And it can be a little irritating, you know. It can be more than a little irritating at times, you know. That I will be very honest about, okay, because it doesn't always go according to plan. You know, it doesn't always go according to plan, and so yeah. I got some good news. I got some new friends that I'm going to be doing some Ka-Pow stuff with soon. I will make an announcement once things have been really, really ironed out. And see right here, I'm just adding really basic shapes, right? I kind of want him kind of hunched over. And I want his chest down, right? And so we don't get to see everything that he's doing, you know. I'm going to block in his legs. See, I'm laying this out very quickly. The beautiful thing about working with shapes is that you can do this, right? you can lay down things very quickly. And once you figure out the shapes of things, right, the body just really just kind of falls into place, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put this leg right here, and boom, that leg points down. And it's a little bit behind this foot, and this foot's going to be massive. Now here's a trick. You guys kind of see how I'm laying these shapes down, right? And if you have any questions, feel free. I can see comments. Hopefully there are no comments right now, but if you have a question, go ahead and feel free to leave a comment, and it should pop up. It should pop up. I'll go ahead and switch to overhead. Boom. There we go. Just like that. Right. So you guys can see the artwork and not my ugly mug. Now this is something that we learned a while ago here in the Kids Zone. One of the I try to always introduce the little ones to a new phrase that they didn't know before that is relevant in the art community. You know, certain things you only learn when you've been around a long time like me, or you've been into art school like some of my friends in the industry. I've never been to art school, so hopefully, and I have no commentary about it. I believe that had I gone to art school, I would have probably made certain inroads a lot faster, right? And kind of shortened the learning curve a little bit. Okay, but I taught myself how to draw, trial and error, and there's something to be said for that. But a lot of my friends are art school products, and they are incredible artists. You know, so I would actually encourage people to kind of explore it. You know, and it's funny because even though I haven't been to art school, I've been invited to speak at several art schools because I am a professional, and I've kind of found my way, you know, to this point where I'm considered by some a reliable source of information. My wife would probably dispute that. But see how quickly I'm laying these shapes in, right? It's because number one, I have a pretty good grasp of how I want them to look, right? But I'm not worried about details yet. Not worried about details yet. We're going to take it a step at a time, okay? We're just going to go ahead and take this one step at a time and kind of work our way up to a finished, completed drawing, okay? And so we're going to do a basic Hulk raging, right? Basic Hulk raging. And again, I try to keep the forms here kind of simple because KIDZONE is primarily for little ones up, you know, I would say between 7 or 8 up to the age of, you know, 10 or 12. But adults have have fun, I think, you know, learning along with their kids. I know I still get a blast out of hanging out with my adult kids, and they're teaching me, they taught me things even when they were younger that let's just say older people just typically wouldn't even bother to try to know, but ended up being very beneficial to me as both an artist and as a dad. And see, I'm just kind of blocking him out, and already he's starting to feel like the Hulk. I think he's starting to feel like the Hulk, and that's really what you want. You want a really good feel of the character. And I'm back to that autofocus again, and it's irritating me. It's irritating me. I want to make sure autofocus stays off. I'm still getting a little autofocus glitching off. I don't know why it's determined to keep coming back. There we go. Here we go. I know if I was watching that, I think something's wrong with my eyes if every time somebody moved, things went blurry for a second. And see how I'm just really taking my time, right? And that's the key. I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of young artists wrestle with early on, is being patient with the art, right? And don't get me wrong, I've said this before. I too am a fan first and foremost, and I love to see things done, right? I love to see the finished product, and I want to hurry. Part of me wants to hurry up and get there, but experience has taught me that if I rush to the finish line, chances are I'm going to lose the race with this piece of artwork, and that's any piece of artwork. So, you know, anything worth doing is worth doing well, and don't cheat the process. You know, don't cheat the process. We see a lot of people on Instagram and on social media, on YouTube and whatnot, and they seem to they're able to do things so fluently and easily. Number one, there's a lot of time that goes into mastering anything. There's a lot of time that goes into mastering anything. And you have to pay your dues, really, by doing things, you know, starting off a little slower, right? And learning the ropes. And that's okay. That is okay. Because everyone had to go there, you know, everyone had to go that route. Okay, so I gotta make sure I get his toes. And today I'm kind of going a little bit faster. Number one, because I don't have any kids in the kid zone with me today. But this is actually probably going to be the norm once everything kind of resorts back to normal and everyone starts going back to school and, you know, the e-learning and all that other stuff. And so I think I got to kind of get used to doing it myself. And that's all. I'm okay with that. But it affords me the chance to go ahead and just really flesh it out. But I'm looking at the screen. So if you have any questions and you're picking me up, okay, feel free to ask. I'm at your disposal. Okay, feel free to ask. Let me go ahead and save this. I'm actually recording this for later with a commentary of the process, so that for my course. And when you think about Hulk is pretty much any type of muscle character, any type of super strong, behemoth, gargantuan, hulking thing. There's certain rules that are kind of typical, right? And if you notice, like I have his body here, and his head in proportion to his body is actually very, very small, right? And that is usually to identify low intelligence as well as strength. You want to, you know, if you look at a bodybuilder, and mind you, this is rooted in fact, pull up a photo of a bodybuilder sometime, right? And no matter how big their muscles get, the one thing that they cannot grow by lifting weights is the size of their head. And that's the truth. And so you'll see these big old massive bodies, right? You see these huge massive bodies. And oh, we got some people coming in from oh, thanks, Teray Franklin. Thank you. I'm glad to be on Facebook finally. And we have people coming from Periscope popping in. Outstanding. Outstanding. Glad to have you guys. Thank you very much. He said, make chaos and fire in the background. Well, this is a KIDZONE stream, and so this is not that. I try to keep it age appropriate. Now, if it was just me doing basic comic stuff, trust me, I'd have fire and we get the Hulk in his full rage, in all of his raging glory. But I'm trying to this is for education for younger groups, but I'm going to be streaming live more often, and you guys can see my process both here and at Honor Studios. And so see me you can follow me as I do commissions and whatnot. But this is for little ones stuck at home during the crisis, during the COVID. And this is this is a request of one of my KIDZONE, the KIDZONE Ka-Pow kids, that said, you know, Solo, draw the Hulk. And so I'm like, okay, I'll draw the Hulk. I didn't know I was going to do it today, but because I'm switching platforms, right, and I'm using another streaming platform to make sure that my Facebook audience gets some loving. I'm late, number one, because of that, and number two, I don't know what I'm doing fully. All right, with the streaming, and so we're experimenting. You guys are actually helping me muddle through this. So this is like 3 birds with 1 stone with this stream. All right. Now, one of the things, if you notice, you see what I'm placing now I'm mapping out his face, right? I'm mapping out his face. And we're talking about brutish characters like the Hulk. And Hulk is kind of like the prototype brute, right? We're talking about a relatively small head in comparison to his body, right? Really, really small head. Once again, feel free to go look at some reference. This is not just for cartoons and animation. Pull up a photo of a bodybuilder, you know, any professional bodybuilder today. No matter how much you lift weights, you can't grow your head. Your head is pretty much what it is, right? And your body can get really massive, but your head will look really small. It looks kind of weird, you know. It looks kind of weird if you really, you know, give it its due attention, right? It's kind of strange looking, but that's kind of the route we take in animation and in comics. You know, we kind of take that rule and we kind of put it on quote unquote steroids. Catch it? Joke, steroids, bodybuilders, never mind. Anyway, yeah. So this is the Hulk. And see, his body's already, I haven't laid out any details. If you notice, it's almost like sculpting. If you guys have ever sculpted anything, right? It's a process of just slowly whittling it down. You go with your nice broad generic shapes and you come in and you just slowly start adding details. You slowly start adding details, right? And so I think I'm gonna give him a really broad mouth. That's another characteristic of brutish characters. Really broad mouths, right? And little beady eyes. And so we're gonna put his eyes like right here. And his nose is almost like a really pug, you know, really pugnacious, you know, up high, a lot of chin, little forehead. Once again, we're trying to, yeah, even though there's different versions of the Hulk, my fellow comic book geeks, we all have our own favorite version of the Hulk, whether it be Joe Fixit or the Gray Hulk or Professor Hulk, right? Everyone's got their favorite version in comicdom of the Hulk. Me personally, I'm a fan of the classic misunderstood monster, right? So yeah, I thought the creation of a character that wants to do good and just, you know, can't catch a break because of his appearance and, you know, because of fear. And, you know, that's one thing Marvel's always great at. It was funny. I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a toy designer, and I went out to California last year in preparation to kind of pitch my app to a group of professional and amateur artists to kind of get their feedback on it. And the app is done. It is actually out, and I'll be posting ads on social media soon. And so I was out there, and we were in the car. We got into me, him, and my brother Julian. We got into the classic debate of Marvel versus DC. And I got to be honest, I don't have a preference. Okay, yeah, I'm very, very much a art fan, and artists tend to migrate from company to company, right? I really follow artists and creative teams, not necessarily companies. And I had the audacity, the nerve to say that, and I still believe it though, that DC has more interesting characters. Marvel has better stories and character development, right? And if you listen to what I'm saying, I'm not saying DC is better than Marvel. I'm saying the characters and the character development at Marvel is better, and their overall stories. But if you ever like get a chance to like research DC characters, their characters are amazing. It's just like, I just feel like they never quite knew how to approach them, you know. And I'm not saying that I have the answer. I might, but I will say that historically speaking, I believe that DC has a better character roster, especially their villains. Oh my gosh, their villains Their villains are way better than Marvel. I know I'm about to start some waves here on social media, but their villains are way, way, way better than Marvel's, right? You're talking Joker, you're talking Lex Luthor. I mean, these are, many people can't even accurately dial in to their favorite Marvel villain because they don't do villains nearly as good as DC. Nearly as good as DC. I want to hear your comments on it. If you're watching, come on, leave your comments. I can take it. Agree, disagree. This is a free country, right? I'm down for whatever, right? I'm down for whatever. Give me your feedback. I want to hear it. Solo, you're off your rocker, right? I can handle it. I can handle it. And so there we are right there with a nice clean outline of the Hulk. And normally I don't use these for a KIDZONE drawing because usually when I do the KIDZONE lives, I've already drawn the character out first, right? And I try to keep the materials very simple during the Kids live. He said Marvel is better. Dwayne Shea said Marvel is better. hey, that's my brother. That's my guy, Elijah's dad. Thank you so much for joining. Listen, I'm switched to a new platform. It's now Skype based. So if you want Elijah to join, create a Skype account and I will send out an email over the weekend on how to join the live streams with this new format. Okay. This is me just trying to figure it out today. So tell Elijah I have not abandoned him. I ain't checked out on him, that we're switching to a new format because the majority of my audience was not being tended to appropriately tended to. And so I want to make sure that everyone gets their fair chance to hang out with me here and see the live streams and support the channel. There I am. Yes, I know there's a little delay. But tell Elijah, to all the KAPOW kids out there, Solo has not bailed on you. See, I don't even have on my KAPOW shirt. I don't even have on my KAPOW shirt today. Today I'm wearing Superboy. Right? And you say, that's Superman? No. Comic book geeks, fans of Young Justice, the animation, which I'm a huge fan of. Phil Barossa, Joaquin Dos Santos, Jerome K. Moore, you guys killed all those designs. Dusty Abel. I'm just dropping industry names. They're not friends of mine, but I know who these artists and creators are. But if you watch Young Justice, this is Superboy, okay? This is Superboy, not Superman, all right? And so anyway, my man says Marvel is better. I love it. I absolutely love it. And my man's going to go ahead and give me, he gave me the thumbs up. Cool. That's what I'm talking about. Cool. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you for your support. And so, yeah, we're hashing out the Hulk, and I'm probably going to end up doing another version of this during a live stream, right? And we're going to make sure that the kids and the new kids and hopefully my new friends, I'm not going to tell you who they are yet, but I may be doing some live streams for with a group that actually creates some of your special toys, and their kids may be coming out to hang out with me too. So be praying, that happens, because I'm always cool with making new friends. Always. It's always a good thing. And so now I'm going to start just inking him, and I'm using now these are not high end. They look high end, but once again, I try to abstain from using my own professional preferred stash of tools, because I try to keep KIDZONE very doable for mom and dad. And though these are not expensive, you can find these markers at Michael's. I'll have a link in the description on YouTube, in the description of where you can get these from. I usually just keep it very simple. Usually I use Sharpies and whatnot, but because this video is actually going to be used as one of the tutorial videos, like all the first round pre-draws that I do, because usually when I'm on the KIDZONE, I'm drawing it for the second time. It may not be that day, but the character I'm doing on the KIDZONE, I've already drawn at least a couple of days before, if not the week prior, and I redraw it, tending to our little ones, but I'm distracted, and so the expectation of quality I just don't quite put there. Is just really making sure that the kids have a good time, they learn a little something, and But on the pre-draws like this one, this is considered a pre-draw. I put a little extra TLC into it because this is what I use to post on the website. The website is kapowschool.com in case you're curious. And I put stuff like this up there so that you can download them at your leisure, right? You can color them, right? I'm going to end up putting up, compiling these into a coloring book that you'll be able to get if you sign up for my course. The kids will be able to download the entire coloring book of all these characters, right? And along with some draw-overs so that they can practice at their leisure. But that's a ways away. But I always post the KIDZONE drawings of the day. I did not today because today was an experimental day with this new eCam process. And so, yeah, we're doing things a little bit different. I'm a little bit off my system today. But I'm excited that we've gotten this far. I'm excited that Periscope is up, that Twitch is participating. And here's the funny thing. I don't have any people there. I don't have any audience there to speak of, and I'm okay with that. I'm really in the growing phase, and I don't think no matter if God sees fit to grow my channels and my influence, I'm still the same. Listen, man, I'm a Chicago boy. I'm a big geek at heart, and I just love drawing and teaching. That's really what I love. That's my heart's desire. And see, I'm just going and getting him some really scruffy hair here, right? I keep it very simple, right? And Hulk's kind of got like a weird, his hair kind of sits up top. Probably give him a little bit more hair than what he really does have. And so I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to give him a little highlight ring, right? You'll see what that is later. I know it looks weird now, but it's a little highlight ring. Many people don't pay attention to it in animation and in simplified art. And all it does is it shows sheen to it. It gives it's the graphic representation of sheen on hair. That's it. That's all. And this is an animation style. This is not from any particular cartoon. It's more inspired. It's inspired by. Now, mind you, I can draw a model if I had to. If I had to draw a model, not a problem. I'm not trying to draw a model. That's what we call it in the industry. With the Avengers World's Mightiest Heroes, I think it is, that animation, which was a great. If you got Disney Plus, check it out. Right? It used to be on Disney XD, but Disney Plus is my jam. And so I have I'm a huge animation head. That's how I got my start, in case you're wondering. I did work for Warner Brothers that's how I cut my teeth, and worked on as an intern on things like Batman the Animated Series and Pinky and the Brain, and that's really where I really kind of made my inroads as an industry professional. So animation's in my blood. I shifted over to comics because of my own studio. And once again, being, of limited funds and limited personnel, animation is very, very labor intensive. And so I started my studio based on what I could afford to do if it was just me. And I produced a comic, as well as I got some more in the pipeline years ago, and we're actually working on animations in the game right now. So that's a little bit about me, in case you're wondering, in case you're just joining me and you don't know who I am. I'm not a household name. Not that that matters, but I know it matters to certain people. And in social media, in the social media age, it really matters. Your name is everything, and we'll see how that goes. Right now, I just want to have a good time with artists and kids that want to learn and who may like the way I present things. I don't try to overcomplicate things. I try to give information and techniques in doses that are easily digested and that are skill level appropriate. I'm not one of those guys that gets off on spouting a bunch of technical industry terms, which I do know them, to sound more proficient and loftier than I am. That's why I say in my heading, I'm the most famous artist you've never heard of. I've worked on some things you may be familiar with, but the name you may not recognize. And that's okay. That's okay. With me, it's about quality. It's not about quantity. I know in social media, a lot of times quantity is what puts people, and some people definitely deserve, but there are quite a few that don't deserve the audiences and the attention they get. They buy followers and all of that. I'm like, if I just get 100 kids, or not just kids, because Ka-Pow is actually not designed for kids initially. KIDZONE kind of changed that with the, COVID changed my thinking a little bit with Ka-Pow, the Comic Art Academy. There was not a below the age of 18 focus. It was below the age of 13. It was, 13 and up. But this has kind of really changed that. And now just seeking to provide an outlet for mom and dad and an egress for education for those that are homeschooling. If you're a homeschooler, contact me if you'd like me to. I really want to explore the homeschooling options and see what kind of services I can provide for those at home that would like to learn art from me. And mind you, the stuff that I'm doing, it has multiple purposes. Number one, I wanted Ka-Pow, when I created it, to be an affordable way to learn for those that are self-learning like I was. When I was in my formative artistic years, when I was really just trying to learn the craft, and this was, on the hub of the YouTube and e-learning era. Most of the stuff that I came across was either by some prominent name online that had an online course, but was so freaking pricey, there was no way I was paying that much just for a bunch of pre-recorded videos and no real access should I have questions. And then the others were YouTube videos, right? Where once again, I didn't have access to the person unless they signed me up for some exorbitant course. But I had a wife and 4 kids. So, and I worked a 9 to 5. And so, my options were kind of limited. Either I dropped down several $100s, which could go towards some bills, because this guy has worked on this cartoon or worked for Marvel or DC, but he's going to make me pay for that, which I don't think, is wrong. It just didn't fit my situation, right? And so I created Ka-Pow for people in my situation that have some type of lifestyle overhead, but wanted a high quality art education in the comic arts specifically. When I say the comic arts, I'm not talking comic books. I'm talking about the art of comics, which is animation, which I have done, which is comics, includes comics, which includes character design, includes video games, which I've worked on. The spectrum, kind of like if you think of martial arts, that's how I use the term comic arts, right? That's a really translatable, easily translatable skill set at an affordable price. Like I was willing to pay something the equivalent of a gym membership if the quality of the education was there. And sadly, a lot of times I didn't find that. It was either free YouTube stuff with very limited information in a single source. If I wanted to get a complete thought, I had to go to several channels. And if you guys are like me, I'm a YouTube head. Most of the things I've learned, I've actually learned on YouTube, but I've spent countless man hours in the process, basically Frankensteining information together to get complete thoughts. this channel has this but didn't cover this. This channel has that and didn't cover that, right? And, you know, of course they have a course, but if they gave you the course, you're going to pay an arm and a leg for it. You know, not saying that it's not worth it, but I wasn't ready to pay for it, you know. And so I created Ka-Pow to kind of answer all those pain points for myself, right? To kind of answer those pain points for myself. And what would I be willing to pay for if I was, you know, not where I am creatively and wanted to learn? And what kind of access would I like to have to that guy? And so Ka-Pow, you actually get access to me. You know, I have my own social media platform, believe it or not, that I've paid for. It's almost like my own personal Facebook, which is kind of cool, right? Even though I'm on Facebook, I wanted an exclusive place for those who take my course where I can go in and do my own private live streams, and, you know, where basically you're getting your money's worth. You're not feeling cheated because everyone is getting the information and some are paying, some aren't. So I wanted to be loyal to those that, you know, supported my effort. So I spent a little bit of money and got a subscription to a private platform, which is kind of like Facebook, where you can post videos, set up your own sub communities inside of my community, and all that you can find if you go to my Patreon at Ka-Pow School. And some of you know what Patreon is, some of you may not. If you don't, Patreon is basically, you're going to help me build it by giving your feedback. You're going to pay a very low entry point that I will reward once the comprehensive course is launched. I believe in supporting those who support me, you know, and I believe that's, you know, you just pay it forward. You know, when people, you know, support you when you're low on the totem pole, if, you know, God seems fit to let you rise, you reward said loyalty. I believe that. And so that's how Ka-Pow is being set up. And it's actually all set up. I'm actually doing the courses now. And see the attention I'm giving this drawing. This is actually going to be on one of the courses. So you guys are watching me create one of the drawings that will be included, right? You may see a time lapse of this, but I use my content very strategically. And so there'll be a course that follows this drawing right here with accompanying materials, as well as commentary and assignments, even just based on this drawing and drawings like it. And I cover everything. I don't, it's funny because I was talking to one of my buddies, and I really do see myself as almost like an artist without a style, because of my experience in animation and having to stay on model with different artists. My style is very mercurial. It's constantly shifting depending on what the job requires. And so, like, this is a semi-animated version. I have a traditional comic book style that I like to draw in, and, you know, if it's Disney, I can do Disney. So I really am almost like an artist without a style. And it's funny because I kind of resented that early on. I fought it. But then I kind of saw the benefit of it. It allowed me to be versatile, right? And it allowed me not to be pigeonholed into a category. And it also allowed me to be able to make myself available, even like commissions in as far as income, to, oh, you want it like this? Yeah, I can do it like that. You know what I mean? You mind if I kind of deviate a little bit? Because I do like injecting my own personality into it, right? I kind of like injecting my own personality into everything that I do. But if you want straight Elsa and Disney, I can do that. But if you want like an urban Elsa, you know, with a different style, I can do that too. You know, and so, you know, it's about really finding where you fit, and hopefully I can help some other artists find where they fit. You know, I was fortunate enough to have a mentor, and I think that's the word in a nutshell. Ka-Pow really is about mentorship through this process. It really is about mentorship through this process, right? And having someone there who kind of gets it, you know, and I'm not, you know, I have another thing that I've made a benefit that at first I was a little bit, I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit envious of some of my peers because, you know, I've done freelance work, but I've never like been an in-house artist for anybody, right? And it's almost like being chosen, you know. I was never really chosen, you know, by a big say, hey, we want you and we want you because of what you do. Like I was kind of almost like a hired gun, right, to fill in, you know, where we're needed. And I used to kind of feel some kind of way about it. You know, I used to feel some kind of way about it because it made me question if I was good enough or if my ideas were fresh enough. But what I've come to realize is that my biggest advantage is my ability to communicate what I do, and I believe that I'm meant to teach, right? That my skill set is is proficient enough, you know, where I can help others kind of close the gap, right? And by not being an in-house artist, doing this as a 9 to 5 for another company like Marvel or whatever, that it allows me the luxury of being present all the time for my students, right? For those who sign up. And I think that matters, right? There's a lot of guys that have courses that are still very much either freelancers or, you know, working as, you know, an in-house artist for a company. And you may see them for a little while and then you may not, right? Because they got projects, they have deadlines, right? And I know what that looks like. I don't knock it. But I think for me, because of, you know, me being, what's the Japanese term, a ronin, that I'm able to give my attention with Ka-Pow all the way through to the end. And I think that hopefully those that join with Ka-Pow will appreciate that, the level of attention that I'm able to give. Now, obviously, if it grows to a significant size, I won't be able to attend to everyone, but I'll always be present, you know, and help everyone that I can. So yeah, and I do have my own company, mind you. I have my own studio. We're like, well, you have your own studio, so you're no different than those. No, I'm different because when you have your own studio, I make the deadlines, right? That's the beauty about, like they always say, being the boss. You know, I kind of determine when this needs to be done, and if Ka-Pow is, you know, a major player in my life, and you know, paying bills and supporting my lifestyle, then of course Ka-Pow is going to get the attention, you know. It's getting the attention now and it's not doing that. So what do you think is going to happen when it's actually doing that? You know what I mean? It's getting the attention now because COVID and the response that I've gotten from parents and kids that have been joining me on the live streams has been so significant. It's been so significant. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to backpedal a little bit, and I'm going to, let me get his teeth in here. Notice I jump around a lot. Believe it or not, there's a method to my madness. I'm drawing right now on typing paper, which is kind of par for the course whenever I do a KIDZONE drawing. Once again, it's about having accessible materials that mom and dad aren't going to break the bank for, you know, that'll sustain their young aspiring artists for several weeks, even if they're drawing every day. Where, you know, the other pads of paper, as we artists know, they run out, you know, relatively quickly. I'm giving his little beady eyes, little Hulk eyes. Right. And so the reason I jump around, as I was saying, is because when you're working on type, forgive me if I call this uh, typing paper, understand that I am old and I grew up drawing on typing paper. So I have an affection for the term typing paper. And I know that many people do not use typewriters anymore. Typewriters are virtually extinct. I get it. Okay? It really still is the same paper, just by a different name. Right? And see, I'm kind of giving him dark rings under his eyes. That kind of adds to his aggression, I think. Now go ahead and put some shadows underneath there. Kind of really darken his eyes a little bit, make him more Hulk-like. Like that. Give him a little shadow under his nose. Right? And he's got this divot. He's got to kind of have this like apish I hope you guys are getting something out of this. I know I'm not getting a lot of responses, and I'm not really used to, I'm learning how to talk to people that aren't there, which should not be anything new to me. I mean, I'm a little nuts according to my wife. She'll hear me having conversations and say, babe, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? And so it's different though when you're live streaming. It's because like there's an expectation of a live body and you don't quite know if they are. If they're there. Not that they're live, but if they're there. Right? I'm going to add some little straight hairs here. Right? Kind of muff it up a little bit. There we go. So yeah. See, the beautiful thing is that when I do the pre-draws, like I feel like more like I'm doing my own personal, Ka-Pow, watch me work on something, a commission or something like that. But usually when I work on the pre-draws, believe it or not, while I'm drawing, I'm kind of figuring out my dialogue and the process so I can communicate it to the kiddies, right? And it's funny because now that I'm just kind of winging the stream, right? Go ahead and make some tears. Now that I'm kind of winging the stream, it kind of feels weird not having my KIDZONE kids there. I really do feel like I'm talking to myself. As strange as that may sound, I feel like I'm talking to myself. Like I said, I usually pretty much work this out. Oh yeah, I'm gonna explain why I came to this decision and blah blah blah, right? And blah blah blah. And then by the time I'm doing the stream with the kids, and believe it or not, it only takes me an hour to typically draw these. I don't have more time than that to invest because I have other projects to do. But while I'm intentional in thinking about my process, I know how to kind of relay it to the kids, right? Hey Dan, how's it going? But right now, this kind of feels like a very, I really do feel like I'm kind of talking to myself because I didn't plan on whatever. Go ahead and give him some little strains in his neck. Right? So yeah. So if I seem a little bit discombobulated, I'm trying to pay attention to this new platform to make sure that everything's still streaming because I'm a little bit tentative about it. I'm a little bit on edge about it because it's new. For me, it's not new, but it's new for me. And I'm not proficient with it. The other one, I didn't like it that much. Because like little weird things would happen occasionally. Like one time I did an entire stream. Y'all. And none of it recorded. None of it. Actually, my buddy, my Ka-Pow kid Elijah was there. And we did an entire stream, just me and him. and it didn't record, it didn't stream anything. It just kind of dropped the call. You know what I mean? And so we spent the entire hour drawing and creating and teaching, and it was just me and him. But he learned something, which is great. You know, it didn't really like move the needle of Ka-Pow, the course, you know, or hit a community per se, but Elijah learned something. If nothing else, he learned that solo can mess up at times. I think that's a good lesson for kids too, that grown-ups aren't infallible and they should have a little bit of mercy. You know, I know they think that we walk on water. I know my kids did. Go ahead and add muscles, striations we call them, right? Hulk striations. Add to broadcast. Let me see what Dwayne's saying. I can't quite see. It's a little far away. Oh. Click to view 11 comments. Oh, that's okay. Cool. Yeah, he's laughing at me. Yeah, we're not infallible. We have mistakes. And yeah, me and Elijah, it was just me and him just hanging out. We think we're streaming to the whole world, and just me and him. And it wasn't until after, so after the stream ended, I was like, "What? What the man?" Got a good laugh out of it though. I mean, sometimes you got to laugh. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. See, a lot of times when I'm doing the I'm explaining how I'm doing the strokes, how I'm getting such clean strokes in it. And like, this is actually a mistake now, but I'm gonna keep it because it's a nice heavy line. And I normally do these pre-draws nice and heavy so that the kids can download and trace, right? And the lines are dark enough and heavy enough that they can see it, you know what I mean? They can see them clearly if they have another piece of paper on top. So yeah. But this stream is actually I'm just happy to be streaming to other channels now, because my YouTube family was like, I mean, my Facebook family was like, "Yo, Solo, man, we've been, you know, we go hard for you," and they do. I have like quite a few followers on Facebook, and they're like, "We go hard for you, you guys, and you're giving us crickets." And I'm like, "But I also need to grow my YouTube channel. Please forgive me, understand." They're like, "Nope." So yeah, this is a response to all of that. We're going to go ahead and we're going to make this available to everyone that wants to hang out, that has a kid stuck at home, that wants to learn how to draw. The next stream is going to be Tuesday. I have more information on my new friends and my new guests. I'm going to hopefully talk to them before then, and we'll make an announcement if necessary. If not, you just want him to bring it up again. It's one of those things that'll be like, "Hey, whatever happened to that, what you said? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Doesn't matter. It's moot. Move on." So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and keep adding and chiseling away. So what do you think about Adobe Illustrator? Is it good starting place? No, it's not. If we're talking about for Elijah, Illustrator is deceiving in its name for those who don't know it. Illustrator is vector based, right? And Illustrator has a pretty significant learning curve, right? I have pro buddies that don't touch it, right? I know Illustrator because it allows me to do things, especially on the graphic design. It's more for graphic design than it is for drawing. right? And I'm glad that you asked that question because a lot of people, my wife works for a nonprofit, and another thing that kind of inspired Ka-Pow is that I know for me, growing up in the inner city, I never really saw artists. I wasn't exposed to artists that looked like me, right? And those that did were more in commercial fields. Um, Tracing is great practice. Tracing is great practice. That's how I taught myself. I taught myself through tracing. You know what I mean? I taught myself through tracing, and trying to just mimic what I saw. And in doing that, in mimicking what you see, you're actually programming and locking in certain rules, even if you do not know why those decisions are being made in that moment, you'll notice them in other pieces of art and other creations, right? And so by tracing, really, it's almost like writing your letters over and over. How we learned how to write our alphabet, right? There are formulas and systems in art. I still trace to this day. A lot of artists still trace to this day. Okay, and we trace to kind of get a foothold because there's this connection that happens between your brain and your hand, right? That if you're just trying to figure it out in your brain by yourself, there's a disconnect because your hand doesn't know what it's trying to do. But as you start tracing and going over lines and paths, and you start finding shapes and whatnot, like even if you take a piece of tracing paper and you just kind of circle and try to find the shapes in a drawing, it'll get your gears going as to the process and the construction of a piece of art. Okay, so I'm a huge proponent of tracing. But as I was saying about Illustrator has a huge learning curve, right? It's not for the faint of heart because you're dealing with, I won't even bore you with the details, but it's not for drawing. It's actually for construction. You're actually building things through shapes, right? And that can be a little daunting, okay? It's a little daunting. Well, hey, Morris, what's happening? How are you, brother? How's it going? That's one of my brothers from my current 9 to 5. Oh, Morris, a good brother. Motorcycle king. A rider. I don't have anything but good brothers in my circle, and that's the truth. I don't associate with Dan Arts. Some of these brothers support me on one of my other platforms that I do with men. This is not my only. See, I'm now drawing his foot and his heel. Man, thank you so much for your support. Oh, I appreciate it. That blesses me. Hope the wife and the family's good. Hope everything's good on your end. I don't know when I'll be back at work, man. COVID has kind of set everything back. My therapy is non-existent because the hospital shut everything down. And hopefully when this stuff lifts, I can start physical therapy again. For those of you who don't know, I had major knee surgery. Yes, that's the marked man. Yes, that's the marked man. He just mentioned my thing. And I'm getting back to the marked man. For all of my brothers out there who are wondering where I've been with the marked man, my wife and I are developing a course. And the reason I kind of put the brakes on the marked man because we are temporarily put the brakes on the marked man only because I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear all is well. I'll be praying for you guys, man. And like I said, give your wife my best. Even though I've never met her, I don't need to meet her to know she's your wife, and she has got it together because she's yours. But the marked man, I just kind of slowed it down a little bit, only because the parent of the marked man, our marriage coaching entity, my wife and I, we have a very popular online marriage coaching entity that all of this, I'm learning all of this for. I'm using Ka-Pow as kind of like a guinea pig for all of it. But it's gotten traction, and so I'm going to restart the marked man very soon. but there's going to be a course of the marked man inside of a course that my wife and I are developing. And so rather than risk being redundant, I'm going to go ahead and hit it all in one shot. But I'll be back on the marked man, at least sitting down doing lives and chats, possibly starting next week. It was supposed to be this week. Honestly, if I'm being transparent, I always tell myself, especially when I don't do something that I said that I would do, because I told a couple of brothers that I'd be doing it this week. But there have been some glitches in the matrix, right? As far as some other things I got going on, like my app is out and I had to create an ad for it. And since that's out, I got to get it going. And since Mark Man was kind of, sitting anyway, I said, well, I can sit a little bit longer so I can get this stuff done, because people are actually aware of my app and waiting for, details and information. And so it really was about, what's how much traction can I get out of this block of time, right? How much actually, so it really is about time management more than anything, not desire, or willingness to do it. My superpower is time management. Man, thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That blesses me, brother. Thank you. Whenever another man that I hold in high esteem even alludes that he's proud of me, that I don't take that lightly. I don't take that lightly. Thank you so much. When another man is willing to give another man credit for his efforts, that's a secure brother and a supportive brother. And I admire men like that. You are definitely on my short list, though. You are on my short list. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So yeah, almost done here, believe it or not. I'm keeping the shapes very simple. I'm trying not to get too complex because this is an animated type style. See, I'm using a much thicker marker, right? And he's kind of bent over, right? So we're not going to add a whole lot of muscle here. We're just going to do some line association to allude to muscles, right? Keep it very simple, very clean. And even my regular comic book style is kind of done in this way. I like open art because I really do like to give color the opportunity to work. And when you have a lot of lines, a lot of time color can get muddied and lost, and it makes the overall image look kind of dark and heavy, right? And so that's it. That's all I'm adding to his core. And believe it or not, I'm not even giving a whole lot of thought to this at the moment. I just really am trying to communicate Hulk-like features. And that's one of the things I try to teach the kids here in the Kid Zone, is that it really is about communication, effective communication with your shapes and your artwork, right? A lot of times we don't know what we're looking at, but if someone can look at your piece, whatever it is, like you guys have seen me do My Little Pony here, you've seen me do, I try to kind of switch it up between girl inspired, for little girls and for little boys, because I don't want anybody to feel left out. And it's funny because like my buddies like Elijah, they I'm sorry, somebody's trying to call me. I thought I had my thing on Do Not Disturb. But my buddies like Elijah, he is going to be an exceptional artist. Why? Because he doesn't let the subject matter dictate his learning. That impressed me about him, right? I actually had a few kids that kind of dropped off because like, oh, that's girl stuff. I'm not drawing girl stuff, and I had some girls say, oh, that's boy stuff. I'm not drawing boy stuff. And though I understand it, I kind of discourage it because I'm like, if you want to be an artist and earn a living doing it, right, you have to be open to everything, right? And you can't let, because you're a boy or a girl, dictate what you're going to draw, And so Elijah, the McNeelys, they are really, I have a really good bunch of Ka-Pow kids because they really want to learn. They're like, okay. Because I remember when I was coming up in art, right? I was like that. I didn't want to draw anything girl related. And then when I got my first girl assignment, right? Can you draw a woman? I was intimidated by it because I'm like, what you mean? And they're like, yeah, can you draw a woman, right? And I remember the first female I had to draw was like the character from the X-Men Storm. And man, it threw me for a loop because I hadn't practiced female anatomy and shape language, right? And that taught me a lesson. I threw myself all into drawing females after that because I didn't want to be limited as an artist. And I wish I had some, but that's part of the reason why I say, you know, if you have an opportunity to go to art school, do it. Because had I gone to art school, I had somebody in my circle been exposed to such thinking early, it wouldn't have been an issue. Now, granted, we're talking about my teens when I first started, when I credit myself with first becoming a professional artist. And what I mean by professional is when somebody, an outside source, is willing to pay you consistently for your artwork. And I was doing t-shirts for a small t-shirt printer. And when they asked me to draw a female for the first time, I almost lost my stuff, man. Almost lost my stuff. I panicked, but I got it done. Believe that. Because they were paying. Brother got it done. Don't get it twisted. Everything else don't matter. Get the job done. And then people will respect what you do. You know, we don't use ignorance as an excuse not to expand. Just because you don't know how to do something doesn't mean that you're not capable of learning. And then after learning comes mastery. So yeah, still trying to keep all kind of simple. See them coming together. And where's our time at so far? Let's see, where's our time at? We're a little bit over an hour. And that's because I've been talking. Now, when I draw these on my own without talking, I'm done. This would only take me like 45 minutes, right? This would only take me like 45 minutes. But because I'm trying to tend to and then when I do the redraw with the kids, because I already drew it, it doesn't take me that long, right? It doesn't take me that long because I already went through it once, you know, got the shapes down, and now. See, now, boom, quick hand, quick fist. Boom, that's it. That's it. Draw the lines, boom. One of the things I have prided myself on in my career is I am pretty fast. I used to sweat a lot of inconsequential details that didn't really make or break the art. Right? They were just my own idiosyncrasies, my own hangups, you know? And so soon as I started, you know, really, really trying to learn the art, I'm like, you know what? That line don't matter. That line don't matter. Nope, that doesn't matter. Okay, does it still read? Yep, good, win, we'll take it, done. Now, granted, certain things require a whole lot of attention. Don't get me wrong. Like I said earlier, never cheat the process, right? But in professional art, speed does matter. Don't get it twisted. You have deadlines to meet, right? If you're working for somebody else, or even if you're working for yourself, deadlines are a good thing to have. Set them for yourself, and then don't try to meet them. Try to beat them. Push yourself. If you think it'll only take you an hour to do something, see if you can get it done in 45 minutes and still have it read well. All right, like even with my app, one of the future additions to my app is not, you know, there yet, but one of the things we're adding to my app is called a time lock. And basically it's to push the artist past your comfort zone. And, you know, we actually do this, you know, as a training exercise for artists, you know, speed drawing. You got 10 minutes to do this. Whatever it is, you got to be okay with. You know, you're not going to obviously make a masterpiece in 10 minutes, you know, unless you're a prodigy. And you may well be. But we don't kind of account for prodigies. They just kind of present themselves, right? But pushing yourself, setting deadlines for yourself is a good thing. And then if you don't meet the deadline, revisit the art. You know, if you fail the deadline, I'm talking about your own stuff. Don't fail deadlines for clients. You won't be working. You won't work long. But if you fail your own personal deadline, now analyze yourself. Why? Why did I fall short? Why did this not work out? Why did this not pan out? What did I do wrong? Right? Where did I waste time? Where could that time have been better used? Right? These are all part of the process of learning. You see, I'm just blocking in his fists. Right? And believe it or not, these fists may not read entirely anatomically correct, but they'll read graphically correct. Now, if I was doing something for a major project or a film or something like that, anatomy kind of matters sometimes, you know what I mean, depending on where we are in the process. But this is meant to be an animated style Hulk, right? And I want to show you guys, I'm not sitting here trying to show off, I'm really trying to show the young ones, you know, what you're capable of when you really put the time in to learn and be better. There we got another fist, and I'm going ahead and heavy out his outline. See how I laid that in? I didn't even go back to my pencil. Just kind of laid it in quickly. Right? Not stressing over it. Right? Not worrying about all the particulars. Does it read like a fist? Right? Does it read well? It's funny, if you ever have the opportunity, I don't know if it works now, but it used to work on a computer where I would scan in, I would play like something through QuickTime. I don't know if it still works or not, because, you know, they're constantly updating the programs, and certain features that you once liked are removed. But you used to be able to skip frame by frame in like QuickTime or your movie player, like stop it and pause it. And I still do it now on my, I don't click frame by frame, but I'll pause it. Something like I just watched Scorpion's Revenge and Justice League Apocalypse, and when I see a scene or a frame in the animation, I'll pause it and I'll kind of step through it just to kind of learn a little bit. And if you ever have seen animation that's slowed down, believe it or not, the drawings can be pretty bad at times, because when it's moving, you have 24 drawings that they're called frames, 24 frames that comprise a second. So basically, for a second of watching even a movie, if it's not filmed at 60 frames per second, if you watch it, it takes that many images. It takes 24, 30, whatever frame rate we're talking about, images to give you 1 second of motion. So in animation, you're talking about 24 drawings to give you 1 second of movement. So you can imagine in animation, we don't try to spend a whole lot of time that's not going to register in the mind, right? So like if you actually stop an animation sometimes, I don't care what it is, and kind of look at it, as a still, the drawings sometimes they're not that impressive. Oftentimes they're not that impressive, because we know that that frame is only going to be in front of your eye for a second, right? And it's more important to get to the next movement than it is to create a masterpiece for your eye to process. It's about using your time wisely. And see how I'm just drawing these tears like he's busting out of his pants. That's a classic Hulk thing, right? Not spending a whole lot of time and trying to make every tear perfect and go. I used to do that. I used to like waste time on stuff like this. It's crazy. You know, stuff that really doesn't matter. And it's funny, like even in comics, I used to waste time on certain details. And even though comics are still images, right? They're still images. It's almost an insane career if you think about it. You really have to love drawing, right? Because most people, they only stay on a comic page unless they're studying it, like I was. You know, because remember I was an artist, so I would actually study the comic pages, right? But they only stay on the pages for a few seconds. You know what I mean? They glance over the art supports the story, and it takes between 8 to 10 or 12 hours sometimes to do one page in a comic book for a person to spend maybe 30 seconds looking at it. Hey, fishing iron, how's it going? I think that's from Twitch. Hello. Wow, I got somebody comment from Twitch. Cool. I don't think I had anybody. Maybe you just kind of stumbled on me while I'm just doing Twitch because I haven't done it. And I'm going to add it to the stream. Hello. Glad to have you. But yeah, comics and animation, this stuff you have to really enjoy, people. Now, granted, oh, cool! Thank you so much. Well, I'm glad your browsing hopefully paid off. Glad to have you. I'm Solo, and this is KIDZONE. This is a division of my upcoming course for Ka-Pow, the Comic Art Academy, but we're doing this during the quarantine. And this is not a typical KidZone episode. I'm actually streaming for the first time via restream, so this is actually a test. But normally I will have my Ka-Pow school kids in here with me, and we'd be drawing and learning how to draw. Right now I'm doing typically I'm doing a pre-draw, right? Something that's going to be used for a later, more extensive course. And putting a little bit more time in it and cleaner lines. But hey, I promised a stream today, and I'm giving a stream today. One, two, three, four, five. 5 Hulk toes. Right? And see how I'm just using these lines just to kind of communicate shape, right? Not spending a whole lot of time, right? I really want to communicate. Remember, effective art is all about communication, right? And because this is intended to be a looser, open, animated version of the character, right? I'm not going to spend a lot of times in details. I would use more detail in a comic book. It's called iconic style, iconic comic style. If this were iconic comic style, I would do a lot. What? Not me. It'd be elevated, right? I have a very open style that I prefer, that is close to animation, but it's more like elevated animation with a little bit more detail than what I'm giving here, right? I'm not on model with any type of design. I've done other drawings where I was on model here in the KidZone, right? But this is not meant to be on model with a particular animated show. Which comic have you worked on before? I have not worked on a comic outside of my own creation. I have a studio called Honor Studios, and it's an indie self-published. It's called War in Paradise, was my comic that received some critical acclaim. I have done freelance work for licensing with Marvel, and I've done work for Left Behind, the franchise Left Behind. I worked on their video game, which didn't do that great, but they finished it. I've worked for Warner Brothers. My thing is animation. I worked on Batman the Animated Series. If you're a real geek, you know that from the 90s. I'm old. I worked on Batman the Animated Series, Pinky and the Brain, and Animaniacs. So I'm more of an animation guy. I do comics out of necessity because I'm a one-man show and I'm just trying to get my ideas out into the public. And see, I'm adding his little toenails, right? Not spending a whole lot of time. They're toenails, people. They're toenails. They are toenails. So yeah, I worked mostly in animation. I've actually turned down. My first actual industry work I turned down. What actually is funny that you asked me what comics have I worked on. Among my peers in the comic book industry, if you ask about Solo is famous for actually turning down a amateur artist's dream project, and that was Superman. I was actually, when I was showing my portfolio, unintentionally showing my portfolio, I actually got, I got the attention of the editor of Superman to work on Superman, and quite honestly, I was not interested because I was not interested in working in the industry per se. I just want to know that I was good enough to work in the industry, which is a totally different mindset, because I was working on my own projects and I wanted to make sure that my projects could sit on the shelf next to Superman and Spider-Man and people would be willing to buy them based on their own merit. So if you ask anybody about Solo that knows Solo from the industry, oh, you talking about that dude that turned down DC Comics? Who does that, right? Me. And as much as I love the comic industry, I was never ignorant to its vices. A lot of times we focus on the virtues of the industry and of anything that we like or we're inspired by, and we don't notice the vices. And I come from a very entrepreneurial family, and so I was kind of raised with doing certain types of situational math. And so as when the studio closed down that I was working at here locally, I actually got on the Chicago Police Department, and I was very knowledgeable to the industry at that time, and I still don't like, and it's funny because now a lot of artists are now following suit. I've been told by some of my peers that at first ridiculed me that I was actually ahead of my time. That remains to be seen. But I didn't want to work for the industry because I didn't like how artists were so easily cast aside. It really is like the entertainment industry. It's about who's hot now, right? And I had kids, you know what I mean? I was young. All my kids are adults, but at the time, I was in my mid to early 20s when I got that offer. And I was making more as a Chicago cop than artists made. And, in the art industry, you don't have benefits, you know what I mean? Unless you are an in-studio artist, you don't have benefits per se. If a book is canceled or doesn't do well, either hopefully you've got a good relationship with the editor, and he'll put you in another book. If not, you're out job hunting again. And that just didn't appeal to me. You know what I mean? What I knew about it just didn't appeal to me. And so I opted to do my own thing. I did it. It was actually successful. Even though I wasn't ready for said success, if I'm being completely transparent. And I walked away from my studio for better part of 12 years. And I give him his Hulk pants. And we actually are now relaunching with a board game. But I was being courted by Sony when I did my property. I was flying meeting with investors, that whole thing. And I didn't know enough about business. I was just very I didn't like it. I just wanted to draw, and I didn't expect my property to resonate with people the way that it did. So I wasn't ready for it. What did I work on? I worked on in animation. I worked on Batman the Animated Series. I was an in between. I was a tweener. This was pre-digital age. This is the '90s. I worked on Batman the Animated Series. I worked on Pinky and the Brain. I worked on Animaniacs, and I was a young intern, right? I was not a senior artist. I was an intern, so I did the work that the more advanced artists, the seasoned guys couldn't be bothered with. But I learned so much. And now my mentor there, he's actually a huge supporter of mine. And you know, I knew you'd do something one day. And he's still a very huge influence in my life. He actually took me under his wing at the animation studio and taught me the ropes. And he was a comic book guy. His name is Doug Rice. And so yeah, I worked mostly in animation. I've done card sets for Marvel. You know, and video game stuff. I've done video game design, storyboards for small productions, but I'm nobody special. You know, not by industry standards. I'm nobody special. I really want to teach. Yeah. If you actually before Image Comics, I don't know if you're a comic guy or not. Are you a comic guy or not? Malachi draws. Are you a comic guy or an animation guy? Yes, we are all special. Yes, we are. I meant as far as, you know, I'm not a name. Okay, so if you're a comic guy, Google um, Google First Comics. First Comics, right? First Comics was what Image. They were Image before there was Image, right? They were a group of professional independent artists that kind of broke away, didn't like how Marvel and DC were doing things. Well, my mentor was one of the founders of First Comics. He was actually a lead animator on Animaniacs. Yeah, he was actually a lead animator on Animaniacs, and he lives here locally. Um, and the studio was out of Chicago. It was one of the few studios here out of Chicago, because you know most animation stuff they're on the coasts. Right. All right. So if you remember when Image came out, he was before Image. First Comics was before Image, and they were the template of breaking away. They just didn't have the fanfare, and they weren't nearly, you know, the thing about Image that made them so successful is that they were the best artists on the cusp of the comic books boom, right, of the 90s. And so it was timing. First Comics suffered from bad timing. They were a little, as I use the term again, they were ahead of their time, right? But it was Hilary Barta, Doug Rice. They had a comic book called Dynamo Joe, and some others. They were really great artists, but they were just a little bit early to the independent game as far as trying to compete against Marvel and DC. And so a little bit early, and I think they paid a price for it. But great artists. Now they're the old guard, but still very relevant, still working. For what it's worth, they are still working, still very active. And even though I'm not a fan of the old style of art, I'm a fan of seasoned information. I'm a fan of experience. You know what I mean? And I'm that type of guy. I will sit down and talk to an old head in their craft because I'm just picking up a stick that they laid down decades ago, right? And once you know really where you are in the grand scheme of things, if you value mentorship like I do, man, I'm telling you, information's better than gold, bro. Because information will get you gold. It'll get you everything, So yeah, that's my little Hulk. Here we go. And this has been my very Dreadstar. Yep. This has been my very first eCam live stream. Next time, hopefully, we will have the Ka-Pow Kids on. We will have a Ka-Pow Kids on, and we will do this for real. Okay, you guys got an extended version of one of my pre-draws featuring the Hulk, right? This will be available on my website, kapowschool.com. Drop me a line. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Not so much on Twitter. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And follow me here on YouTube. Okay? I will be doing the KIDZONE drawings throughout the duration of the shelter in place. And we will continue it because the parents have said that they actually like it and they enjoy it. And we will probably continue this in some form. May not be live, but I'll be providing videos here on YouTube and letting you guys know about my courses coming out. If you want to jump on my courses early, go to patreon.com/KAPOW and you can actually sign up now. You don't get charged anything unless I produce monthly. And right now, I'm not putting any content there. But if you're already in there, you will be one of the ones that will be migrated to the comprehensive course at a ridiculously low price. I mean, like cheaper than a couple of comics. Okay, but you'll also help me develop the course. Check out my app. It's available on iTunes. It's available on the App Store as well as Google Play. It's called the Ka-Pow Power Prompt. This is my first announcement for it. I actually have to post the ads for it, but it's called the Ka-Pow Power Prompt. It's an app that I created for creators to help push you creatively, right? Why wait for a prompt month? Why wait for it? Right now we're in Mermay, right? Or Creatuanuary, or whatever the prompt month is. Why wait for Inktober when you can have that in your pocket on your phone? And you can get as many variations, millions of combinations that will push you past your creative boundaries. And so I created this specifically for artists, so you can check it out. There will be a link in the bio here on YouTube, and there will be ads following the other social media platforms that I'm streaming at that support ads. But if not, just go to my website, kapowschool.com, and click on the link, and it'll take you right there to the app. So I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me. Parents, once again, I have not abandoned your children during the live stream. I have not abandoned. This was getting my feet wet with this new to me streaming option, eCam. So now I can get Facebook, where most of my supporters are. I can get YouTube. I can get Periscope, which I regretfully abandoned a long time ago, but apparently we got some Periscope people that came. I got a new friend on Twitch. So already it's like I'm excited about the possibilities. And hopefully you guys can ride the wave. I'm going to be committing to this full time with regular streams. You can check me out on my Honor Studios on Instagram. That's my personal studio where we're working on our game War in Paradise Insurrection, as well as some webcomic ideas that we're putting out, not ideas, projects that I'm creating specifically for social media, right? Social media web strips, okay? That'll be only on Instagram and Facebook. And so check me out, honorstudios.com, and Honor Studios on Instagram, Facebook, and at kapowschool.com everywhere. Thank you so much. I am your boy Solo, Dr. Solo Perry, the most famous artist you've never heard of. And thank you guys for hanging out with me. God bless you. Be safe, all right? We know that we're in interesting times right now. It is, the cloud has not passed, but I believe, God, that it will be passing shortly. But guess what? We're in this together, so let's stay together. Love the ones that you're with. Enjoy this time. Create something beautiful. Create something epic. Create something wonderful. Use the time wisely. All right. This time is what we make it. And so God bless you. I love you. Thank you for hanging out with me. And I will see you Tuesday. Announcements are always on my social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram, right? I will be back Tuesday from 2 to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time here for your kids in the Ka-Pow Zone. In the Ka-Pow Kids Zone. Thank you. God bless you. Peace.